Hello everybody, Pankaj here. Welcome to SAP S4 HANA Production Planning Webinar Session number 1. I hope you are able to see my screen and I am audible enough. Could you please confirm someone from support team?
Yes, sir.
Pankaj.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so today we will start our SAP Advanced Production Planning session. So this is in continuation of our basic production planning session. This session is the 14th session, I guess. Yeah. So we already have done 13 sessions before, where we have discussed SAP production planning basic functionalities. And today onwards, we are supposed to start our SAP production planning training with advanced S/4HANA simplifications. So before moving ahead, what I'll do, I will quickly recap the 13th session, what we did in our basic, because in today's session, there might be some new participants. Also, we do have our old participants who were the part of our basic training, but there are other new participants are also joined. So I just want to give them a very high level brief what we have discussed in our basic training, and then in today then in our advanced training, what are the different topics we are supposed to cover. So basically, in our basic SAP S/4HANA production planning and manufacturing session, what course curriculum, we started our session at a very basic things about the SAP, like what is ERP, what is SAP, and what are the different SAP generation shift. How SAP started journey in 1970s with first generation was as a R2, then it switched to R3, then ECC, and finally it's in SAP S/4HANA. So in 2015, you must know SAP S/4HANA as a new product came, right? So before that, even the first version which SAP launched as SAP S/4HANA is a 1511, and then 1610, 1709, 1909, 1909, and 2020. That's how SAP, continuously upgraded the journey on SAP S/4HANA basically. So from 2010 only, actually SAP was working on the database, HANA database, right? That one also we discuss in our basic training session, like how SAP started journey as a SAP S/4HANA database in 2010. Then it came as a SAP BW powered by SAP S/4HANA in 2012, right? That during that time, how businesses or different companies using sidecar scenario, where the database, our ECC database was as per the traditional database, and for the reporting purposes, we used to transfer the data to HANA database and get the report out of that. And then in 2013, SAP launched Suite on HANA, then Simple Finance in 2014, and in finally 2015, SAP launched SAP S/4HANA as a Simple Finance and Simple Logistic both. So these things we discussed. Then we discuss what are the different core modules that majorly interacted with our production planning module. In any, we took an example of one of the manufacturing company, and we discuss one uh, base scenario, and based on that we try to understand what are the different modules interlinked with each other. Then here we also discuss about the logistic end-to-end process flow, like from customer demand, how it come to the any manufacturing company or manufacturing plant, and then this customer demand to production planning, then procurement, then getting the material from the vendor, raw material, again our production planning end-to-end processes and all. So these things we discuss in our very early session in our basic training, and then we switch slowly to the PP, production planning part, where we initially discuss about the production planning master data. What is the different production, major important production planning master data? That is material master, bill of material, work center, routing, and production version, and how these, work center and these things are actually interlinked with the cost module, like different cost center and activity types that we first discussed theoretically, how it is interlinked with each other. And then we discuss the PP end-to-end process flow with one of the make to stock and make to order, scenario. Like in make to stock, how it starts basically with plan independent requirement, further MRP run, then plan order to production order conversion, release production order conversion. This whole end-to-end process flow we discussed theoretically in our one of the initial session. Then we discuss about what are the different kind of SAP S/4HANA projects, what is support projects, how is the implementation project, within the implementation project, what is greenfield implementation, what is conversion project, rollout project, upgrade project. These things we discussed. So these things actually we discussed only theoretically in our first couple of initial sessions, different kind of end users, and what is the functional consultant, how functional consultants and key users are talking about the business requirements, and how actually functional consultants supposed to deliver any kind of requirement. These things we discuss. And also we discuss at a very high level about the project methodology. Earlier we used to have a SAP project methodology for any implementation. Nowadays SAP S/4HANA recommends to go as with activate methodology. We discuss what is the difference between SAP methodology and activate methodology. What are the different phases in activate methodology? Discover phase, prepare phase, explore phase, realize and deploy phase. And what are the different activities as a functional consultant we need to do in these different phases? So these first, I guess, initial 2 to 3 sessions we discuss these things theoretically, and then we simply jumped into the system. Okay, and we started configuring one of company code where we configured one company code as a TJ03, one production plant. Within the production plant we created this blue color production planning related enterprise structure. Parallelly also we created a couple of things from the sales sides and purchasing materials management side to run our end-to-end scenarios, right? And once started, we started initially setting up the finance configuration, where we define company code, plan, different things. And then also we configured sales enterprise structure, SD enterprise structure in the system. Then we configure the company code, different configuration points, these configuration things like fiscal year variant, company code, assignment, these things also we did. Also we did material ledger activations. Once our enterprise structure and these parts has done, we actually started the PP master data configuration. And as we discussed earlier, the same, all the master data, this blue color master data, you can see it here, which is actually related to the production planning module, where we created finished material, semi-finished material, raw materials, bill of material, routing, work centers, and production version. And also we parallelly created these activity types, activity price planning, cost centers in the system, and we tried to interlink with each other. And finally, we did the product cost estimate, where we were able to get the finished material standard price. And then once we are done with the product cost estimate, then we started running our end-to-end cycle for make to stock production planning, where we created plan independent requirement and whole end-to-end cycle, what we discussed earlier. We try to create and walk through in the system with GUI screens with different transaction codes. That's what we did in our earlier session in the basic training. Then also we discussed couple of different scenarios. We try to tweak the configurations within the production planning, and we try to create the different kind of backflush scenarios and auto good receipt scenarios for the finish for the production order. What are the different things that we need to do during the backflush activation? What are the different role of different things during the material master? If we are activating backflush indicator, what are the impacts on the system? Or if we do have a different kind of scenarios, then how we can activate backflush indicator at work center level, how we can activate the same backflush indicator at a routing level. That what we discuss. And also we discuss there are some configuration already available in the system, by which we can do auto good receipt and backflush for all the production orders which will be created with specific order type without doing this backflush master data setup. So that things we discuss, and then Then we started discussing about the planning strategies within the production planning model. We do have different kind of planning strategies, and majorly we cover, I guess, 10 planning strategies, how actually it works. And we also try to create the scenarios in the system for each of the planning strategies, and we also checked how actually it look like in the system. Like if we are working with 10 number make to stock planning strategy, how the plan independent requirement will get consumed when we will deliver the material to the sales order. Then we discuss about 11 number planning strategy, where after production itself PIR will get consumed, right? So what is the basic difference in 10 and 11 number strategies? Like in 11 number strategy, the warehouse stock will not be considered in the net requirement planning during material MRP run. So these kind of planning strategies we discuss theoretically first, and also we try to run the scenarios in the system. We discuss 20 make to stock planning strategy, planning with final assembly 40. Also, we discuss 30 number planning strategy additionally, and we try to identify how actually it has a difference between 10 number and 20 number and 11 number planning strategy. Like it's a combination of kind of 10 and 20. So it's a make to stock production by lot planning strategy, basically 30. Also, we discuss couple of interesting planning strategy, like make to order planning without final assembly 50, and how actually it works, and the plan independent requirement which we have created at the finished material level, how it actually get reduced when we will get the final sales order for that material. So unless and until there is no sales order for the finished material, system is not actually allowing us to start the finished material production. So these kind of planning strategies also we try to configure in the system. And this is one of the interesting planning strategy we discuss, make to stock planning with planning material 63. We also try to create this one scenario for that. It was a very interesting planning strategy. I also try to share my current experience with this planning strategy, how we have been implemented this planning strategy. That is basically for the finished material. If we are not having the exact requirement during planning, but at a very high level we are getting the requirement for finished material. Let's say here we discuss about two finished material, green FG1 and FG2, and we don't have a correct requirement of FG1 and FG2, but we do know, we might know that time at a very high level the total of FG1 and FG2 requirement could be 100, but in actual it will be 60-40 or 60-70-30, that kind of combination. But before getting a detailed requirement, detailed production plan, how we can do plan our low level material, that is SFG and FG, which are very common between these two finished material, with the planning with planning material, this planning strategy, how it works, that's what we discuss. Also we discuss in case of make to order how it works, and in case of make to stock how it works. So these kind of planning strategies we discuss. Then there are a couple of theoretical, these planning strategies we discuss theoretically. We haven't run scenario, I guess, for this planning strategy in the system, like make to stock planning at assembly level 70 and make to stock planning at phantom assembly level 59. So how it works theoretically we discuss, and I guess I'm not sure, but one of the planning strategy we also try to run the scenario also. Then once we are done with the these major commonly used planning strategies, then we discuss how we can configure the planning strategy. If we need to configure the new planning strategy in the system, or if we want to combine the two different planning strategies in one group, how we can do it, and how actually it's interlinked. What is the customer independent requirement? What is the requirement type for customer independent requirement? Then how we can maintain the requirement class for plan independent requirement, and how we can do assignment of that requirement class. Finally, how we can combine both together in one planning strategy, and finally different planning strategy we can combine it to the one strategy group, and that strategy group finally we can assign it to the material master. We try to combine 20 and 40 number planning strategy, and also we try to run the scenario how actually it works in that case. Once we are done with our planning strategies, then actually we started a different kind of scenarios. The first scenario we discussed, that is repetitive manufacturing. In what kind of business case or what kind of business requirement we can map the repetitive manufacturing scenario. and how actually it differs with the discrete manufacturing. What is the basic difference between discrete and repetitive manufacturing from the master data standpoint? What is the basic difference in the material master? What are the different things that we need to do for the repetitive manufacturing? And then execution wise, what is the difference with discrete manufacturing and the repetitive manufacturing? So also we discuss like the majorly the repetitive manufacturing scenario work, the costing works on the time base. Here we do have a production order and order based costing we used to do, and we try to run whole end-to-end cycle for the repetitive manufacturing scenario here, where also within the repetitive manufacturing we can work with material requirement planning and create the plan order, and based on the plan order we can do our goods receipt goods issue, that is called MFBF backflush. Without plan or MRP also we can directly create the plan order with planning table, and based on that also we can do the backflush for the finished material and GR for the finished material. And also we saw like without planning table also at a material level also how we can do the raw material backflush and finished material GRN. And so these three different flavors what we try to create, try to configure in the system, and we run end-to-end cycle for that. Once we are done with repetitive manufacturing scenario, we discuss about the very commonly used batch determination functionality in the production planning, where we try to create first we theoretically discuss how let's say we do have a different raw materials, one raw material in a different batches, and when we are creating the plan order for the finished material during the production order creation, how we can choose the respective or related batch to get issued to their production order. So this is nothing but the batch determination. Then within the batch determination, we do have option like manual batch determination, automatic batch determination. Within the manual batch determination, how we can do and select the required batch without class. And for the automatic batch determination, we need to create the batch class, and for that batch class we need to do couple of configuration points. That's what I have put here in the down this line. So we may need to create the batch search strategy, batch search procedure, then we need to do assignment, and finally we need to create the search strategy that will help to determine the right batch for the production order automatically. So this scenario what we discuss, and then we point by point I just kept for the note and homework for you guys to run this scenario, right? These all points I kept it here. And finally, I guess we discuss about the capacity planning and capacity leveling. Basically, in any end-to-end production planning scenario, at what point in time the capacity planning and capacity leveling comes in a picture, and in SAP, how actually it works. So although in SAP we know our traditional MRP run or our ECC MRP, whenever we are running material requirement planning, it's work with a finite capacity, right? So like considering our work center is always available to do the production, and although we are having any other production running on the specific work center, system try to create a new plan order on the same day, and it try to create overload the capacity on the specific day for the work center. So this is what our finite planning works during the MRP. Once we this kind of planning is happen, how planner can simply go into CM0 and check where is the capacity overload, right? This is the capacity planning table. Initially I tried to explain this theoretically on the PPT, and then how that planner can go to CM21 and CM25 and do the capacity leveling based on the priority and the requirement. That's what we discuss. And then we try to run this scenario in the system by creating couple of different finished product, trying to load all the finished product on the same machine. We first for that created all the master data, related master data, and then we try to create the different plan for a different finished product with different quantity. System created the plan with some different date, and when we actually did the capacity leveling, it's automatically changed the plan order dates and the time. That's what we try to replicate the scenario in the system. Then we discuss one of the interesting scenario, that is Kanban. how it actually used in the industry, and the when we are implementing that kind of Kanban process, what are the basic consideration that has to be taken care. How this is the very basic classic Kanban scenario. That's what we discuss, and we try to create this Kanban scenario with one of the dummy material, I mean raw material, and we try to see the Kanban board and how system was creating automatic purchase order once the stock at the production location has been get over, and also when the supplier used to supply the material with the trolley back to the inventory, and after scanning or with one click how it's getting full and inventory is getting updated in our system. So that scenario we try to run end to end in our last session. Then there was one miscellaneous topic during our discussion came to know about the collective order. That one also I try to cover. We created one of the scenario for the collective order, how it actually look likes in the system. The same way we do have a couple of miscellaneous topics that I have been already noted it down, and I'm supposed to cover this kind of scenario once the based on the time permits, and maybe at the end of our training, without touching our course curriculum for the next advanced training and all. So till this point, actually, we discussed in our basics. So there was one more topic what we were planned to cover in our basic session, and that is nothing but I guess sales operation and planning, SOP. So that part was still remain on the basics. So what we will we have discussed, like we will cover this topic here in the advance, and then we will go ahead. Now, this is what already we discussed in the SAP production planning basic course. Now, I will quickly go through what are the different topics we will be going to cover in our SAP S/4HANA production planning advanced course curriculum. The same way, we will start. Just a minute, guys.
Hey, Pankaj, thank you for giving a quick review. That was around 30 hours of training, and you have quickly
Yes.
reviewed for everyone in 25 to 30 minutes. So that was a quick recap. Just
Yeah.
setting up the stage, guys. So we have completed the basics part. So basic part of SAP PP training for the people who have never worked on PP, or who have worked but very little, or who are starting their career with PP. So that was a basic training so that you can understand the PP basic. And now we are switching from today onwards. We are switching ahead with the second leg of training, which is advanced training, SAP S/4HANA PP advanced training, where we'll be more talking about the delta between the ECC and SAP S/4HANA, all the Fiori related stuff, DDMRP, predictive MRP. Pankaj would be speaking about them. So that part we are starting from today. So the links of both of the products I would be putting onto the chat window, so you can also go into the detail. And now we would be starting that what actually we are going to cover into the advanced part, SAP PP advanced part. What are the things going to be covered? And then quickly we'll be jumping into our first topic. Okay,